had I not felt commodified, had I felt like I had been treated with honesty and integrity, I could have been the greatest advocate, and I would have continued to extol the virtues of Sarco. I had so much love for this machine. I even named it. I named it Celeste. I felt that personified her, and I was even asked to give a quotation that would adorn her. And oddly enough, the photograph that was shown during the press conference had the quotation that I gave them about "We Are All Made of Star Stuff" by Carl Sagan. But then just I felt exploited, and I had made a remark that I guess Fiona and Philip took a liking to, and they specifically told me to say that to certain journalists, and it was just an aside, but it just all started falling into place that all I was a media propulsion, at that point. Florian Willett. He's the last resort guy. He was assigned to look after me or whatever in Zurich, but it was clear that he was keeping me under control, and the time he spent with me, he had I am grateful he got me from place to place safely. I am grateful. He's a very, very efficient individual, and I'm very grateful for his help on that level. He made me aware, though, that I was inconveniencing him. He made me aware that I was keeping him from the gym. He pointed and told me, "Get off the elevator here, Jennifer. Do this, Jennifer. Come follow me, Jennifer," and moved very, very quickly, which obviously I'm not a quick mover anymore, and it was just very, very difficult, almost military. Do this, and he spoke to me like I was stupid. When I bought groceries, when I first got there, I picked up bananas, and he explained to me that they would go brown. Like, we don't have bananas in America. He explained to me to get off the elevator and what door to go out. When we came to, I don't know how to get off a goddamn elevator. I'm going to sit there all night. It was just insane. And all the time, just waiting for me to pay for his meals and his coffee or anything. And when I got groceries, he put things in my basket and said, "Oh, I need this. Didn't even ask me. Now, I would have been happy to buy what he needed, but I was very taken aback that it was clearly his presumption that I was going to pay for the groceries that he needed. One day, because I was trying so hard not to bother him, I tried to find an ATM on my own. I used my phone, and it sent me way, way far on the outskirts of Zurich. And my scooter ran out of charge, and I finally found a cafe where someone spoke English and could help me a bit. And I had to let Florian know I needed help because I didn't have enough charge to get back. And I give it to, he came, and I'm grateful for that. He let me know, though, that it was interfering with his gym time, and suggested that we get an Uber because that would be quicker for him. And of course, it was, and I was trying to avoid that. I ordered in all of my groceries from then on. I ordered in for meals. I was afraid to try to go, to call him and go out, or I felt so isolated in Zurich. I don't know if you've ever been in a relationship where things are going south and you start to feel more alone than if you were really alone. That's how I felt. I knew that there was somebody there, but I don't know when I've ever felt so alone and so isolated. I apologized to Florian for being a burden, and I finally just decided I would have a heart-to-heart with him. And I told him, Florian, I fear I'm getting on your nerves, and I so don't mean to, and apologize for that. And he told me that I said thank you too much, that I said I'm sorry too much. And I explained to him that in the southern United States, that's a mannerism, a very common mannerism, and that at this point, he's kind of messing with who I am. And I thought to myself, I'm about to die. Is now the time, really, to try to change me? But I didn't say that out loud, but I thought it. But after I mentioned all of that to him, he told me about his 2 PhDs quite a few times, and that he was used to conversing with academics and not with dumb people. He didn't outright call me dumb, but I can do a little bit of math. That was a tough pill. Not that it matters, but I had my master's. I work for a Fortune 500 company. I'm not the smartest bulb, but I'm not an idiot. I really didn't know any alternatives. I couldn't afford to go elsewhere at this point, and I just clung to the hope of proceeding with my planned death on July 17th. Again, that would be my birthday. My health was worsening, and I learned that there were complications with Sarco. And that gave me pause, but I still was willing to move forward and still trusted the science. And Fiona and Philip assured me that everything was fine. Even when I approached them about the article, I saw that Sarco had been banned and that they were facing prosecution. If the whole team would face prosecution, I was told not to believe it at my own peril, and that it changed nothing, and that everything was still a go. If I had been aware during my initial research of the profoundly heartless, and I don't use that term lightly, the profoundly heartless individuals behind Sarco, Fiona, Philip, and Florian specifically, who now held my fate in their hands, which was driven primarily by their own media presence and marketing, I never would have subjected myself to this. I think I mentioned earlier, I did attempt my own suicide in a very, after a lot of rational thought in the U.S., obviously failed, as I'm sitting here before you right now. I did not try again because I was terrified that whatever method I tried at home wouldn't work, would cause brain damage, paralysis, something that would land me in a nursing home where I wouldn't be able to make my own choice. That's a huge driving motivator for me. And as it is now, I've sold everything I ever owned. I have severed all ties. And if I return to the United States, I really don't know what I would do. I wouldn't have a home. I believe I could find somebody to take me in, but it would be mortifying, humiliating. It would be starting over from nothing, and I'm not prepared to do that. I took a leap of faith with Sarco, knowing I would be its first user. I was driven by a commitment to advance the crucial human right of self-determination at life's end. I feel very strongly about that, and I believe that I should be able to make that decision, or anyone who is not being rash should be able to make that decision to die peacefully, just like they would take their dog to be euthanized. I would never let Effie's my dog, I would never let her suffer. But for whatever reason, I'm expected to wobble around like an old lady and suffer and just wait till something happens. I don't understand. I am sharing my story because I really, really hope nobody else endures this with exit. I hope they don't endure anything unpleasant, but especially if they decide that they're ready to start this journey, I just would lament. I would take it with me beyond this life. It would hurt me that they might be subjecting themselves to I just don't think they're good people. And I don't say that about people. I'm not a judgy girl. But I can say in all honesty, I don't believe they're good people. Choosing to end your life voluntarily is one of the most profound decisions you'll ever make. And I beg of you, I implore you, please don't risk falling into this web of lies and deceit and betrayal and depletion with Exit International or The Last Resort. This could and most likely would lead to immense suffering during your final journey.